welcome to CEO.CA. My name is James Pettam, and today I'm joined by Dean Skurka, President and CEO of WonderFi. WonderFi owns, operates, incubates, and invests across the global digital assets ecosystem, trading on the TSX under the ticker WNDR and the OTCQB under the ticker WONDF. Dean, it's great to be talking with you today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So lots of interest on the CEO.CA platform in WonderFi, but for investors who maybe aren't familiar with the story, can you start with an overview of the company and the portfolio of brands within WonderFi?
Absolutely. WonderFi is traded on the TSX under the symbol WNDR. Over the last 2 years, we have been consolidating cryptocurrency trading platforms in the Canadian market. We have acquired 5 of the 11 regulated crypto trading platforms in the country. We have a user base in excess of 1.6 million registered accounts. We have over $1 billion in combined client assets on our platforms today. And through a process of migrating client accounts to BitBuy, today we operate 2 crypto trading platforms, being BitBuy and CoinSquare. And in addition to those, we also operate a company called SmartPay, which we're really excited about, which is a global payments provider allowing merchants to accept digital assets for the goods and services they offer.
Okay, very interesting. It seems like there's quite a diversified portfolio within the crypto and digital asset space. We've seen a lot of strong price movement in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over the last year. We're holding above $50,000 for the first time since 2021. How does this recent price movement affect WonderFi and the underlying businesses?
Yeah, it's a great question. Naturally, in the run-up, our crypto trading platforms have experienced significant growth in the KPIs that we monitor, whether it's signups, active users, trading volumes, client assets on the platform, which we refer to as AUC. All of these metrics have been significantly improving over the last 6 months. You think about Q3, the consolidated business generated about $10 million of revenue with about $500 million trading volume across the platforms that we own and operate. You shift to Q4, the guidance we put out is $12.5 to $13 million of revenue with about $760 million of trading volume on the platform in the quarter. We also published our January results, which indicated $350 million of volume traded in the month, with $4.8 million of revenue generated. You're really starting to see the value in not only bringing the businesses together that we have through our consolidation efforts, but also the reaction that these platforms generate when markets start to shift. Naturally, over the last few months, we've seen Bitcoin trade, as mentioned, up above the 50,000 mark, which has psychological meaning or significant impact from a psychological perspective amongst potential clients and existing clients. And at the same time, we've seen, as mentioned, all of these KPIs increase meaningfully. So we think that our businesses are incredibly well positioned for the next market cycle, having consolidated the platforms that we have, as mentioned, 5 of 11 regulated in the Canadian market, to now operating 2. We have really identified the synergies between these platforms and migrated the users into the platforms that we want to continue to invest in moving forward, being CoinSquare and BitBuy. And so you're looking at a business that has gone through the difficult process of integrating all of the acquisitions and all the consolidation efforts that we have. And when you look to Q4 guidance, as mentioned, $12.5 to $13 million of revenue on about $750 million of trading volumes. And most importantly, cash flow positive, EBITDA positive. So the business model is sound, and we are entering into a market where we expect the KPIs that we monitor to grow meaningfully.
Yeah, putting up some really impressive numbers and great to see the momentum coming with this rise in crypto prices. I think as well that psychological impact you mentioned can't be overlooked. You're holding above 50,000 and starting to become a more mainstream asset class with ETFs coming to market and the like. Just wondering, looking through 2024, what do you think some market catalysts are for the crypto traders should be looking out for? And maybe as well, what do you think is behind some of the recent price movement that we've seen over the last year as well?
The biggest catalyst thus far clearly has been the Bitcoin ETFs, like you mentioned. You're talking about household names like BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, really adding significant credibility to this asset class. And if you think about a year prior, with all of the unfortunate examples that this industry had to overcome, it's a meaningful shift from a credibility perspective and a long-term viability perspective. So the ETFs have done a really good job at shifting the narrative, pointing in the direction of a more regulated future for this asset class, which WonderFi naturally fits right into. And we think that the impact of that obviously has been felt thus far, but we expect it to continue as the ETFs continue to drive inflows and increase their AUM over the next 6, 12, 18 months. Looking forward, there is an upcoming Bitcoin halving in April or May of this year. Historically, these have been really strong catalysts for increasing awareness, increasing the conversation, increasing the outlook and sentiment around the asset class. Certainly, there have been historical examples where price appreciation has significantly improved in the 6 to 12 months following the halving. But at a minimum, it really drives attention and mind share back to the asset class in a positive light. Looking further ahead, there is continued discussion and the expectation that the next shoe to drop will be the Ethereum ETF. And so you're starting to see Ethereum start, pick up momentum. It's currently at about $2,800 US. It's been trading up over the last few months. And so when you think about the catalysts that exist within the asset class, there are many to point to. And more broadly speaking, when you look at the broader financial markets, there are expectations of rate cuts or at a minimum, no further rate hikes in the back half of this year. We certainly expect that to be a positive impact for risk on assets, which we believe crypto fits into today. And, that would reflect well from a more broader macroeconomic perspective. And so, certainly we think the catalysts are there. The price action, the shift in sentiment thus far, we think is a sign of what's to come. And we're really excited about how our businesses are positioned to really onboard this next wave of adoption with respect to the digital asset industry.
Yeah, really interesting. And sounds like there is a lot of catalysts in the pipeline. You touched on something there that I would like to follow up on, just the, crypto and digital assets becoming a more regulated environment and how that is a big appeal to mainstream investors. Obviously, you're operating in Canada and you've consolidated a significant number of the Canadian platforms already. Wondering, how does the Canadian market size look and how does the regulatory environment maybe compare to some of the other global markets, given that this is a global asset, but I guess regulated on a national level?
Yeah, great question. Canada is in a unique position given it does have regulatory clarity with respect to the digital asset industry and the crypto trading platforms that service, the industry. Canada, compared to the rest of the world, certainly the U.S. markets, has done a really good job at putting in place regulation as a starting point to protect consumers that are looking to engage in this asset class. So, back in 2021, BitBuy was the first crypto trading marketplace to receive regulatory approvals from the Ontario Securities Commission and the rest of the Canadian Securities Administrators. And, we think what's important to understand is that this is a very global industry, like you mentioned, and there are subsets of this industry beyond trading that our users are looking to engage with. Staking would be a great example of that. If clients are unable to stake on regulated crypto trading platforms in Canada, they will likely look to offshore unregulated markets to engage in those services. And so it's really important for operators to understand that the industry is much greater than buying and selling spot crypto, and to work with regulators to bring forward additional regulatory frameworks that can encompass the entire industry. And so staking is a really good example, and we think that sets a precedent for operators like BitBuy and CoinSquare to work with the regulators in Canada to continue to roll out additional products and services that Canadian participants are looking for to ensure that all of this activity can happen on onshore regulated platforms where there is recourse for bad actors, for clients in the case of bad actors. And so we think that's a really important step. At the same time, what we're looking to do is take our experience and everything we've learned from operating regulated crypto trading platforms in Canada and expand our profile outside of the Canadian market, bringing all of that expertise, bringing all of that best-in-class operational know-how, bringing our brands and marketing and awareness to those markets. We think that will be a really encouraging step for WonderFi more broadly as we look ahead to the year ahead.
Yeah, really interesting. And you touched on staking there. I'm wondering, could you give an overview? Obviously, you've had success with BitBuy launching some staking initiatives last year, and now CoinSquare has been approved. What does that opportunity look like? And could you maybe give a breakdown of the staking process for some of our users as well?
Simply put, staking allows users on our platforms to earn rewards on certain assets that they hold with us, predominantly being proof of stake digital assets. Ethereum and Solana are the most popular and well-known proof of stake assets. And so if you think about opening an account at BitBuy, sending us Canadian dollars, buying Ethereum, from there you have a few choices. You can withdraw it off the platform, you can maintain it on the platform as is, or you can now stake it and earn rewards for holding it on BitBuy or CoinSquare. And so staking is a really important tool that allows long-term holders of these proof of stake digital assets to earn passive rewards while they hold them. And at the same time, from a BitBuy CoinSquare perspective, it is encouraging our clients to retain assets on our platforms. And at the same time, it is driving additional revenue streams for our platforms that we otherwise didn't have exposure to. And so we're really encouraged by these product offerings. Certainly the success we've seen on BitBuy is a really encouraging sign for us as we roll this out on CoinSquare. And, as I mentioned earlier, we think it's really important that the Canadian regulators are working with platforms like ours to actually identify and work through what staking regulation could look like. And from there, it's really on us to continue these efforts and continue to work with regulators to identify that next product and service that we want to offer to Canadians.
Thanks for that overview, and really interesting to see that opportunity with CoinSquare now approved as well. I guess changing focus a little, but I would love to hear maybe your pitch. A lot of retail investors may have reservations about investing in an asset class that they see as being more volatile. What would you say? How does WonderFi fit into that, and what is the appeal of WonderFi to an investor who may be cautious to put their money into cryptocurrency?
Yeah, absolutely. We would certainly encourage them to do their homework. And as I mentioned earlier, this industry has gone through a major transformation over the last 12 months. You think about the shift towards a more regulated future. You think about the sentiment and credibility improving through the likes of BlackRock and Fidelity continuing to invest in this industry. There is a clear shift happening. You look at the success of these ETFs in the early days, and we certainly look at that as a positive signal. If people are looking at investing in the asset class, there are naturally a few different ways. There's the spot market where you can buy and hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other digital assets. There are the public markets where you can buy ETF products now, and where you can invest in companies like ours that are actually operating businesses within the industry. We certainly think that when you look at WonderFi, we have consolidated the crypto trading platform segment in the Canadian market. There is clear and concise regulation for these businesses in this market. And so for those potential investors that are concerned about regulatory clarity or the going concern abilities for these businesses, or the idea that these businesses are allowed to operate the business model that they currently engage in, we think that our regulatory positioning really provides a lot of assurances to potential investors or existing investors. You think about the businesses that we operate, as mentioned, you're talking about businesses that have significant upside in markets where Bitcoin sentiment is improving and price and volatility shift with it. As mentioned, in Q3, we generated $500 million of trading volumes on our platform, Q4, $760 million, and in January, $350 million. So you see the ramp up of activity and trading volumes, which drive our businesses when crypto markets start to shift. We certainly think that there are meaningful opportunities from an investment perspective with WonderFi. As mentioned, we've acquired 5 of 11 regulated crypto trading platforms, but more importantly, we have integrated these businesses into a model that is cash flow positive, EBITDA positive today. So we believe that the The industry is at the beginning of another expansion phase. We think WonderFi is incredibly well positioned as one of the only regulated and publicly traded companies in the sector. And we have a very exciting growth road and product roadmap that we believe will continue to add meaningful value to shareholders.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that overview. And I think that gives a good sense of what the different investment opportunities are within the the broader asset class. Just to close off, looking ahead through 2024, what can investors expect in terms of updates from WonderFi?
Yeah, WonderFi, through our training platforms and our other operating subsidiary of SmartPay, we're very much focused on making the improvements to our existing products and services that will continue to drive activity on our platforms. We have recently announced, as mentioned, that CoinSquare will have staking on its platform. We think that is a very important step to the competitiveness of that product. We also announced a partnership with a company called The Tie that will allow us to provide real-time news to our clients through the mobile app and web app. We think that will drive time spent on the platforms, which will drive engagement and activity. Generally speaking, there is a much longer list in terms of a product roadmap and what we have lined up for improving those products and features as mentioned. We're also looking to the additional products and services we can offer as a regulated crypto trading platform in the Canadian market. Those products and services, not too hard for many to think about from an opportunity perspective, what might come next, but certainly we are very focused on margin and derivatives products as we believe from a WonderFi perspective, those could be the biggest opportunity for unlocking value to our shareholders. At the same time, we continue to explore expanding our footprint to markets outside of Canada. We are evaluating markets where regulatory clarity is similar or in line with what we have in the Canadian market. And we are looking to evaluate and identify markets outside of Canada where we believe we can have a really big impact. And so I would expect more on that as the year progresses. And, we're always looking at M&A opportunities. Certainly, having acquired 6 businesses over the last 2 years, M&A has been a core focus of our business and has allowed us to scale the way we have during that period. And we're always looking for additional opportunities, whether it's other Canadian platforms or platforms outside of the Canadian market that can provide value to WonderFi and complement the operating businesses that we have today.
Dean, thank you so much for that response and for discussing WonderFi with me today. Looking forward to seeing more updates from the company throughout the year.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.